Welcome. I am Judy Ailey. I'm one of the practitioners here at Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. I want to welcome you this morning. Our regular minister, Reverend Bob Dean, is in Denver at the Centers for Spiritual Living Convention. So we are delighted to have a speaker with us that I'll tell you more about later. But welcome. And such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity, and so am I. This is the essential truth of our being. Welcome. I extend a warm welcome this morning to all who are here, whether this is your first time or whether you come here often, or maybe you haven't been in a while and you've just come back. But we're glad that you're here. We are a spiritual center that welcomes all people. And know that if you are here, that you are respected and loved and welcome. The vision statement for our center is that we are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle. Through teaching, service, and practice, we create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. So again, I welcome you. I'm so glad that you're here on this rainy Sunday morning, but you are here in the right place at the right time. So if you will, let's do our declaration of principle. It's printed on your in your little sheet here. If you'll stand with me and we'll read this together. I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. You know, as a practitioner this morning, I'm going to kind of switch roles and just say that I'm so glad to know that I live in a universe that's governed by principles that we teach here. And you know, one of the principles is that life is like a mirror, and it does reflect back to us what we believe, or either consciously or the things that we believe at a deeper level. And I know that our guest speaker is going to be talking more about that today. But you know, sometimes those beliefs are hard to access. You know, there have been times in my life that have struggled with certain things. And at those times, if I take a minute to really look at myself and see what is that I might be believing, or what old way, of thinking is still hanging on that could be bringing these experiences into my life. I try not to do this in kind of a punitive or negative way, blaming myself for the old belief, because that doesn't help at all. But if I ask for Spirit's guidance to understand what it is I've been thinking about, or what are my old beliefs that I still need to release, that I'm guided to know what these are, and then I do the work of releasing the old beliefs and I work to replace them with new positive beliefs. You know, we live in a universe that is one, and there's one power for good. I was dealing recently with some physical difficulties in my own body, and I asked for wisdom about where was this coming from. And what I got back was that at some level, I was still hanging on to the belief in negative energy, that there was something negative out here that wanted to punish me. You know, this was an old belief. You know, I certainly know that that's false. I've been in this teaching a long time. I know that that is really false. But I also saw that there was some way that it was still that I was still operating out of that, even if it was on a level that I wasn't consciously aware of on a daily basis. It's sort of like peeling back an onion. It's you have to do that to get to these old beliefs. And you think, oh, man, what's with her? She doesn't know that by now. How long has she been coming here? What is going on? So for me, it was crucial to take the time to specifically replace those old beliefs with a new way of thinking. So I had to remind myself that this power that we embody is a power for good, period. That there's nothing that opposes it. There's no punishing power out there. Instead, I had to embrace and know that this power of life is a benevolent, loving power that always only desires the very best for me. So I turned away from any need whatsoever of illness of any kind. This is an old way of thinking, and I replaced it now with forever and forever with the knowledge that I'm filled with the power of good, that this loving presence and loving power only expresses perfectly, and that I am an expression of its perfection at all levels, the mental level, the spiritual level, the physical level. Man, I really needed that. I turned my situation around, and, it's moving in the right direction. So, it's easy in this world to get down about things. So if we're walking around and we're kind of just sad about things or negative about something that's going on in our life, I think it's okay to let ourselves feel that, but then we need to move on. I was thinking about, why do I come here every Sunday? And it really is that I need a reminder about the truth of life, about the truth of who I am, about who we all are. So we come together to remind ourselves about that. So look at your life, look at your health, your finances, your relationships. What is your joy in living? These are all a mirror of what's going on the inside. And maybe sometimes those old beliefs are so deep in there, you got to really ask for some help to unearth those and understand those. So it's an inside job. This is where real creation begins. So in that moment of knowing that every moment is a moment of creation, I want to lead us now in a spiritual mind treatment. So if you will just get comfortable in your seats and maybe take a couple of nice, slow, deep breaths, and we're just going to know the truth of ourselves and know that the present moment is the moment of power and is the moment of creation. So accept these words for yourself in the first person. I'm gonna do them in the first person, so please accept them for yourself. Here's what I know to be true for me and for all of us. I know that there is one power, one presence, one benevolence, one loving good that expresses everywhere in the universe. This power, this presence is mine to assist me in this life, in this world. I know that this power always wants the very best for me. And it is a power for good, and it is one. It is never divided against itself. There's not one power here, one power there, one thing trying to do one thing to me. It's really all one, and it is all good. So I embrace that and know that at the deepest level that this is the truth of who I am. I know that the truth of who I am is absolute, divine, vibrant health, that this is my natural state of being, that this power and this presence fills me with a vitality and an energy and a wholeness and a perfection that is absolute, that is the truth of who I am. I know that the truth of me is that I am rooted in this divine spiritual perfection, that at the core of me is a wholeness, a perfection, a purity that is divine. And that from this perfection from this place of purity that my life outpictures as vibrant health, as love, as fabulous prosperity, as a life filled with joy. I turn away from any ideas contrary to this. I know that I'm in the right place at the right time. I know that I'm paying attention to Spirit's guidance through my intuition, through experiences, through people that I meet. I know that I'm in the right place at the right time to know all that I need to know, to take any action that I need to take, to experience life at its fullest. I know that today's service is a fabulous success, that I receive exactly what I need to receive. I hear exactly what I need to hear to move on, to embracing life, to allowing Spirit to express through me in greater and greater ways. This is the truth. There is nothing that opposes this, so I release this now, and together we say, and so it is. For over the last 30 years, Reverend Cath DePalma has been dedicated to this teaching and practicing the principles of the science of mind that we teach here. She and her husband, Reverend John DePalma, who is in Nevada, Las Vegas right now, so he's not here this morning, but anyway, they recently located back to Atlanta, and we are so very much appreciate their support here at our center in Midtown. They were previously co-ministers at the Center for Spiritual Living in Central Florida. She is the author of 2 books. I Can Do This Thing Called Life, and So Can You is the first one, and that one is available today for a purchase after the celebration, if you would like. And a soon-to-be released book called 7 Ways to Strengthen Your Spiritual Muscle. You know, she was a fellow student of mine with Dr. Kennedy Schultz, and I was reminded that yesterday was Kennedy's birthday. He would have been 89 years old, but he's been gone 20 years. Can you believe that? That's just like, wow. But anyway, let's welcome back to our center this morning, Reverend Cath DePalma.
Good morning. It's great to be here with all of you on this rainy day. And thank you, Judy, for that beautiful story, that personal story that you shared, because that's really what we're talking about today is mirrors. We're talking about mirrors and how it's really an inside-out world versus an outside-in world, and we're talking about the reflection of the mirrors and how you can make the image that you're seeing more to your liking. How does that sound? The green light is on. So I can talk louder. Is that better? Is everybody okay? Pardon? It's a little low? Okay, I'll put my big voice on. My yelling voice. Anyway, so that's what we're talking about this morning. And one of the probably craziest stories that I ever heard, and it was my first real introduction. That's better. My first real introduction to this mirror idea was years ago, and the story was by Marlo Morgan. Anyone remember her? She wrote Mutant Message Down Under. She traveled, she did a walkabout with the Aborigines and learned a lot of things from them. And she told a story. She was visiting Orlando. My sponsor had said, "Oh, you've got to have this guest speaker," and that was Vince Kiefner. I don't know if you remember him, Judy. And so I said, "Okay, yes, I'll say yes." She stayed at our house, and anyway, she did this great talk, and she told the story of she was in the park with her young grandson, who was about probably 5, and they saw this guy approaching them, and he was acting crazy, and he just kept coming closer to them. It looked like he might have been on drugs or something. And so she quickly dodged into the women's bathroom with her young grandson, went into a stall, closed the door, and she faced the stall, the door, and she had her grandson in back. Well, this guy actually did come in, and he, broke open the door. And when he saw her, he started screaming, and he ran out of the bathroom. So the young boy said to his grandmother, he said, "Grandma, what did you do?" Because he didn't see that she did anything. And she said, "I was just focusing on love." And as she focused on love, she said, I don't know if it was that he couldn't handle all of that love, or if it was whatever was going on in his mind. She was a accurate reflection because of being love and not being her stuff. She was an accurate reflection of what was going on in him. And so I love that story. I've never forgotten it because, it's a good thing to keep in your back pocket in case you ever need it. But just that idea of the mirror. I had another personal story years ago where I was a new minister, so I was still figuring things out. And Judy, you're not the only one still figuring things out because we're infinite beings and we're going to be figuring them out for a long time, probably for eternity. But this situation was, things were really improving in my life. Those of you who heard me last time, my whole life fell apart at 30. Well, things were really starting to go well. But there was this one person that was just really getting under my skin in a huge way. And I was thinking, okay, I've got to do something about this. This woman is just playing in my mind something awful. And she was just, and in reality, she was being very, very critical and judgmental about me. And it was a difficult situation for us both. She was my ex's new, younger wife. My kids were spending lots of time with her. So, it was a situation that most people would have a problem with, or it would take some adjusting. So I realized one day, even though she was really critical of me, and I had, I had that reaction, that victim consciousness going in me. And I realized that I really didn't even know her very well. Because this was even, a long distance thing. They're still in the family. I'll be seeing them at another wedding, coming up in April. So I really had to deal with this. What I realized was, as I was learning, we attract what we are. So I thought, okay, what is it about her? I asked the difficult question, what is it about her that is in me? Because you can't see what is not in you. You can only see what is in you. And so what I saw is how hard I was being on myself, how critical I was being and judgmental of myself. And I had to love that part of myself that I was really being hard on and come from love and forgiveness for myself. And when I did that, she no longer was an issue. I could deal with her. I had to clear that up in myself first. So Ernest Holmes has a quote that says in the Science of Mind textbook, the mirror is simply something that reflects. You cannot separate the reflection out of the mirror, but you can change the image in front of it. And you are the image maker. So let us create new images which will reflect new patterns. And we must be definite in our conviction and deliberate in our aim if we expect happy results. For theories are no good unless they are applied. Good stuff, huh? Good stuff. So recently I was working with a client, a new person that called me and asked me for help. And it seems that in her desperation, that a whole group of people, like, just were giving her a bad time and rejected her. And it was a situation that I had been aware of. It was I had been aware of some of what was going on, so I knew this, and I had talked to her before, but this really was just like the last straw. She had gotten, like, kind of rejected from this group. And so I let her talk to me about the facts of what happened, and then I asked her how she was feeling, as a, just kind of like trying to see where things were going. And it's important to talk about, as Judy said, the feelings. We haven't really always wanted to do that, especially in this teaching. But I love what Gay and Caitlin, his wife Hendricks, in their Conscious Loving book says that a feeling fully felt leads to love. And we do everything in our power to keep those hidden in the closet, buried deep within us, so we don't have to deal with them. So I let her talk. She expressed her feelings, and then we got into the tough question. And I asked her, I said, okay, so playing with this mirror idea, have you ever felt this way before in your life? Was there any other circumstances that were going on in your life where you felt this same way? And a light bulb went on in her head. She said, of course, my family. I've done so much work on this. Well, apparently she wasn't done. She had a little bit more to do. But she knew what it was about. So in that moment, she went from victim consciousness to empowered because she knew what she needed to know. She knew what she needed to do on herself, which was very important. And then she took the steps to not only work on that, the love and the forgiveness of herself, those involved, her family involved, and then to move forward and take the right steps and to see that she had, at some level, created this whole scenario so that she could really get this at a deeper level. Now that's big stuff for us to be facing. I like what Colin Tipping in Radical Forgiveness. Anyone ever read that book or hear of it? It's an excellent book on forgiveness. And what he has dedicated his life to us going from victim consciousness, which he says has been here for as long as there's been humans or humanity. This victim consciousness, he said, we are at a point in evolution where it has to stop. But the only way to do it is to get into it. And all of us have situations that come up in our lives that put us in that place. And really what it is it's an invitation for us to really go deeper and to go beyond it, to heal it, to return to wholeness. Or we still have a choice as to whether or not we want to live with that pain. So what we're really talking about here is the law of attraction, right? We live in an amazing universe. It is just exquisitely designed with this mirror feature built into the system. This mirror feature is built in, and it is sort of our teacher. It is what we see is the result of what's going on in us. We can do something about that, or we can ask for help to do something about that so that we can move forward, because we were meant to live here freely and easily, prosperously, and all of those good things. So, in Science of Mind, in this teaching, we say that we are first cause to our experience. That means we are 100% responsible for our part in what we see. And that's a big, tall order. Sometimes it's easier than others, right? And yet, that's what we're called, or that's what we're in training to do, to be able to do that. We have to get to a place, and this is a line by Guy and Caitlin Hendricks in their book, Loving Consciously, or Conscious Loving. I get this mixed up sometimes. We have to get to a place where we admit and we know that whatever experience we are having is the one we're supposed to be having. Whatever experience we're having is the one we're supposed to be having. That's huge, isn't it? It's really huge. Because most of the time we want to run or reject or do any of those things. But the power is within us. We have the power to make that image different, to change that whole thing. So, are you up for that? It's nice to know what's going on, right? So the more that you know, the more that you invest, in this beautiful center, in this community, in this teaching, in your own spiritual work, the more you can understand, the greater awareness that you have. And the more, the better, the richer, more wonderful results you will have and enjoy. So, I am so, so grateful for this wonderful teaching. It continues to it saved my life. My cousin Walter, as you know, is the one that introduced me, Dr. Walter Peach back there. And it just continues to just unfold in greater and greater ways. And it can do that for you too. So stick around, because this is just the beginning, and it does keep getting better and better. And really, the best is yet to come. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. And so let's know this together. First, that we are not alone, that we are all in this together. There is only one life, there is only one power, there is only one presence, and we are immersed in it right here and right now, in this moment and every moment. We are in the midst of this incredible love that created us, this intelligence that created us perfectly. By divine design, we are here. We are good. We are enough. We are already whole. We have everything we need in a perfectly divinely divine universe. Everything is in place all around us at every moment. Whatever it is we need, it is there. So we have eyes to see this morning what is really here for us. We feel that love and support. We allow ourselves to open up, to be free of the past, so that we can live the way we want to live and do what we came here to do and be a model for others on how to live. So this treatment does its powerful work on our behalf, on behalf of this beautiful center, on behalf of centers everywhere that support us in this way, in support of this beautiful teaching and the evolution of consciousness that continues to expand in us and around us and through us. We are so grateful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. And please say together with me, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Cath. That was a beautiful message. All right, as we prepare for time of giving back, I want to welcome to the front here Karen Childs. She is one of our Board of Trustee members, and she has a little message for us. Thank you.
Good morning. Oh, that's lovely. You have no idea. Gets me off on the right foot here. It's an odd thing, when you're asked to speak to a group of friends, really, and Reverend Bob has said, just speak from your experience. And the synergy between what Cath said and Judy said and what I have prepared to say is the oddest thing, because the message is so intertwined. And I am going to talk to you like I'm recounting some memories, and I won't go on and on forever, but there's a recurring theme in my life, and maybe in yours too. You might find some common threads here. That many, many years ago, I was going through a really bad patch. And I didn't have any idea about this teaching. I was just adrift. And for a control freak, that is an extraordinarily bad place to come from. So there was a guy who was older than I, not quite a father figure, but a bit more my senior, who said to me, "The only thing over which you have complete control is your own state of mind." I thought I was in the presence of greatness. I didn't understand really what I was being told, but it stayed with me. Decades later, it has stayed with me. And then fast forward to 8 years ago, and here is a teaching that shows up in my life, and one of the recurring themes is how you choose to think creates your own personal experience. Those are the same things, aren't they? Just said differently. Different words, same thoughts. So I've been on a mission ever since to think positively, to create my own personal experience because of the way that I think. However, bad things keep coming into my head. You too? You have that experience that you don't want them there, but there they are. You wake up in the morning and it is grayer than you want it to be. What do you do about it? Well, this teaching will say you just banish them. They have no place in your consciousness. Just eradicate them. Be gone, bad thoughts, or some other similar thought process. But that doesn't always work, because the more you concentrate on banishing something, the more it takes root in your brain. So I had the good fortune to be in a class, and I think David Barrett was the instructor, and we were on this topic about negativity in your mind and how it creates your personal experience. And he said, bad things show up in everybody's consciousness all the time, multiple times a day. It happens. You are not alone. It's just the way it is. The key is, however, and this is the money part, you don't have to let them stay. Oh my gosh, what a relief. I don't have to let them stay. How's that going to work again? How am I actually going to do that? So I thought at that point, and I think every day, some tools to accomplish that banish project would really be helpful. And then, as this teaching would have it, magically some answers showed up in my life, and in the form of this book. Now, I'm not in the book business, but I'll tell you what, pound for pound, this is something you should go out and buy, because we're metaphysicians, we're science of mind, and anything that says on the cover, a practical guide to developing working relationships with the spirits of creation. I always thought that science of mind and practical guide were like oxymoronic somehow. No, that's just not working out. But in this book, there's so many practical things to do, and here's where the tools part comes in when you're trying to get your head on straight. You know if you're thinking happier thoughts, you're going to be happier. The day is going to unfold accordingly. So I was reading this book. This isn't a long excerpt, but it said, take a step back and assess the role you are playing in your life. Don't identify with your pain and suffering. Recognize that even when tears are streaming down your face, your true self cherishes you and is honored to be experiencing life through your eyes. From this perspective, it's easier to move into a more pleasurable state. That's where we wanted to get, right? And one of the best ways to do that is, create an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of thankfulness and appreciation is the essence of joy. Whenever you're feeling down, the quickest way out is to follow that old cliche and count your blessings. As soon as you do, your whole being begins to vibrate at a different rate. It's true. I've done this. I know many of you have as well. The sun shines brighter, the sky is bluer. Instead of letting your negative attitude attract more of the same unhappiness and despondency, you can shift into hopeful expectation of more blessings to come. This stuff works. It is a choice. All you have to do is change the way you think. Tell your mind, tell your consciousness, I am awesome, I am loved, I am blessed, and before you know it, it'll be the truth in your life. So, read with me now. Normally we would have this on the screen, but get out your card and turn it over and read with me the affirmation for prosperity, because it occurs to me that when I feel blessed as a result of having changed my thinking, I feel generous. The more I have, the more welcoming opportunities come to give. So, affirmation for prosperity. Will you read with me, please? I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Thank you.